All right, this assignment here is pretty easy. You probably don't even need a calculator to do it. It says identify the vertex, the maximum or the minimum, and the domain of the function. Now, so we need the vertex, and then sometimes it's maximum, sometimes it's minimum. Like if it looks like that, there's a minimum point down at the bottom. If it looks like that, there's a maximum point. Okay, and I'll tell you how to figure that out here in a second. Now, don't waste your time trying to make the coordinates and all that. Your vertex is simply, because they're all in vertex form, because a vertex is easy to see, okay? The vertex would be whatever makes the x plus 2 0. So we know that for x plus 2 to be 0, x would have to be negative 2, okay? So it's really just the opposite of whatever the operation is there. So negative 2. Now, in your head, say, okay, what's negative 2 plus 2? 0. What's 0 to the second power? 0. What's 4 times 0? 0. But if I subtract 6 at the end, we have negative 6. So then the y-coordinates is that number that's being added or subtracted at the end. So that's your vertex. So you found that. Now, minimum or maximum, okay? Now, a vertex is the minimum or maximum, but is it a minimum or is it a maximum? Well, you can tell by just looking at the equation, okay? Because if I go left 2 and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the vertex. And if I have a positive multiplying number, the a, that's called your a value, okay? If the a is positive, okay, it's going to go like this, which would mean it has a minimum value because that's the lowest point right there, okay? So put next to it that that's the minimum. Actually, that instead of domain, cross it out. That should say range, okay? Okay. Now the range is represented by the variable y, okay? And it's based on your vertex point. So the critical value is negative 6, okay? And you get higher than negative 6 or lower. Well, obviously these, it's going upward. It's opening up, so that would be higher, so it's greater than or equal to. Okay, so you identify your vertex, and you tell her that's a minimum or a maximum, and then identify your range, okay? The range is always related to y, okay? So here's my y, and then I just go up. I never get down, further down than the y right there, okay? The domain can be anything because that's your x, okay? So eventually this goes up and goes up. So the domain's anything, okay? Any number for x can be put into that equation. But there are certain values for y that the function's never going to reach, okay? Because that's how that works. Okay, vertex. Now again, in trig, in advanced algebra, they're going to want you to know how to find the vertex just by looking at it. So the opposite of minus 3 is 3, and then the number being added is 2. Okay, is that a minimum or maximum? Okay, so 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2. Now the a is actually a negative 1, so it's going to open downward, okay? And now that is now a maximum point, okay? So that's a maximum. Okay, now we got to find the range of the function, okay? Remember, the domain's related to x, but that can be all, I can put any x number in there, so the domain's all real numbers. Okay, but the range, there are certain y coordinates on this y-axis that this parabola is never going to get to, okay? So y, and yet 2 is your critical number, okay? And now it's going downward, so now it's less than or equal to 2. All right, next one. Okay, again, the vertex. It's called vertex form because I can see the vertex by looking at it. So it's going to be 1, okay, and 5. By the way, if there wasn't a number being added or subtracted after the second power, then the y is 0. Okay, is that a min or max? Well, let's go right 1 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the a value in front's positive, so it's going to go like that, okay? So there's a minimum value. Okay. And then for the range, you put your y variable, because range is related to the y. And 5 is your critical value. And then from there it goes up, so it's greater than or equal to 5. Okay, and then the last one, vertex. Vertex is going to be -9 and then -4. Okay, so as far as what that is, back 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Well, the A value is negative, so it would open downward off the graph. But that's all I need because I can see that that's a maximum value. Okay. From there, you have nowhere to go but lower than that. And then the range is always related to y. And since it's going downward from that point, because remember, -4 is my critical number, it's going downward, that's going to be less than or equal to. Okay. So you're not finding the domain, you're finding the range. Okay.